Another week, another anime from Netflix. This time round, we have 13 episodes, 25 minutes apiece. It's called My Daemon. I'm here to talk about it, non-spoiler-ish, but I'm going to be referencing other anime that it is like, or one particular one, and that kind of tells you what this is. So, let's jump in. To save his mother, a kind-hearted boy and his tiny daemon friend set out to journey across post-apocalyptic Japan as dark forces close in. The thing I really struggled with while watching this anime, every time they say daemon, I really want to, my dyslexic brain just translates as demons. Every time people are talking like, my demons are evil, it's like, yeah, we're always trying to defeat our demons. Creatures, post-apocalyptic Japan. We've seen this sort of story before. In fact, we've seen one so similar that I'm not going to mention the movie that's attached to this title, but Pokemon. This is like adult Pokemon. If you take Pokemon, gotta catch them all sort of thing. We have a journey with a character that wants to save his mom. He journeys with his daemon across the land, so we have that journeying adventure storyline, which is great. It always has a tenseness to it, the characters that they meet along the way. There's a sort of time limit on it. He's been hunted down by Team Rocket, but actually the guys that want to dissect the daemons, and everybody on the planet almost feels like that they are against the daemons. And then you also have the daemons that don't like people because they've been abused by people. And what you have, again, is a very adult Pokemon. But similar to other animes, we have lots of that. You know when they say their names? Like Pikachu says Pikachu or Pika. Squirtle. Char. You know, depending on the Pokemon that they are, they will say their names. So we get that as well in here, where the daemons will say whatever they're named. But when it comes to the character creations of the daemons, I think this is what people are going to find really interesting. Because they all have unique abilities, they come across as very exciting to see how they're going to be used. Now, when it comes to humans interacting with daemons, you get daemon hunters, you get those that are using daemons to catch other daemons. When we follow the kid and what he's going through, the trauma that he's experienced, the trauma that he continues to experience on his journey because humans are just sucky, that is when it gets entertaining. I felt myself being drawn in emotionally a number of times. There were peak emotional moments along the 13 episodes that you're going to find yourself going, wow, that's way darker than I expected. There's a juxtaposition of this where, especially with the voice work, if you're listening to it in English, you'll hear the voice work that sounds very much like Ash. Even the daemon that he has with him, Anna, sounds like Pika. Like it's very similar in that American style voices that they have for the American voice actors. So it feels very familiar, but it's so kid friendly in the demeanor or the voice work that they have for the characters. It feels like it's a very young anime. But then on the juxtaposition of that, you'll have decapitated heads and people being spiked, people being torn up, a lot of blood, quite dark themes in places, and you're like, whoa, this is such a weird amalgamation. You do get anime like this, but normally it's like either for kids or then you have like the older version. This is definitely like teens and up. I think teens will love this, and it crescendos into an excellent 13th episode that is big. But if I said one particular Pokemon movie, you would know exactly what this story is. That's not to say I found it disappointing in any way. I thought the voice work both in the English and the original was fantastic. I did watch a couple in both just to kind of balance it out. I found myself, when I was eating my lunch while watching this, I found myself listening to the English, so I didn't have to read and miss stuff. But then I'll go back to the original and found that I liked the voice inflections, the original, particularly the original voice workers that they wanted to get on this project lends itself to, I think, more emotional depth that you get through and then reading. But I think either way you will be fine. The animation style is different. I think there's these backgrounds that look like they're hand-drawn. Probably you have a few and then they digitized. And then we have that 3D artwork that is a combination of it, lending itself to something that you can feel at home with, that is also new, that is easier for them to animate compared to it if they were doing frame by frame. I missed the good old days when that's what it was, but it takes much longer to get those out. Here they're churning them out because there's this world that we live in where people just want more and more and more and more. Anime is so popular now that Netflix have like a big contract with these studios to churn these out. So I found this animation style was good. I didn't mind it. I grew to love it, especially how they show some of the action sequences. One particular one right at the beginning, you just see a different camera works, it slows down, and then you get to see the outcome, the slow-mo movements of it really lend to that kind of changing the aspect of what you can see when you can see it, and it just really lends itself to how they've drawn it in that 3D landscape. And I thought that was excellent. When it comes to the score, it isn't overbearing, it doesn't carry the series, but it just helps push it along for the emotions and the feeling that you're meant to be feeling in those moments. Will I watch it again? I don't know. I might go back to it when there's a second season, because it's definitely set up for a second season if they wanted, but there's a conclusion to the big story in this. They've set it up that it could be many more different Johto legions or different storylines. Now that there's this world where daemons and humans exist, the big theme is this: can we coexist together? And so we're mostly getting some characters that we get to know along the journey with our character, but for the most part it's mostly the harrowing journey that this kid goes on. It's interesting to see the demeanor of our protagonist change along the way as he's introduced to more daemons, creature creations of those, what they've been put through by humans, and then his effect on those humans, even though those humans see daemons as evil, as nasty beings, or ones to be used to defeat and kill other daemons. And his mere presence, his ability to empathize with these creatures really helps bring an emotional punch in places that I wasn't expecting, which makes me like some of those characters that we don't have much backstory for. However, there is one companion that he meets along the way that might suggest that we get a second season if they go that way, which I hope that's the second season that we get. I really enjoyed what they did with this series, and once you get to the end, I really hope what they're suggesting is the thing, because there's a lot of heart ache for our main character and you want him to be okay. Just give him something. I like the surrogate family journey that they build along the way. There's lots of little ticks that I think just work in this. Even though we've seen it before, especially in Pokemon, I think people will really like the landscapes, the mix of animation style, the story, the journey adventure of it, and the Pokemon-esque creature creations that they go on. I think this was fun. So I'm going to give this 4.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
You got one. Congratulations.
I had a lot of fun with this. It's not brilliant or perfect, but I did really enjoy it. And at the end of the day, if you come away enjoying something that you were able to mostly binge watch the whole time, you didn't get bored from any episode, you wanted more from it, you liked the voice work, the animation style, the story, the design, and hoping for a second season, that means that they've done a good job. So I'm not going to give it perfect marks because we've had other incredible anime series or animations from Netflix like Blue-Eyed Samurai, which I just can't say is better than that, or Pluto. There are those that are just fantastic. This one I enjoyed. Probably deserves a slightly lower mark, but because of my enjoyment of it, I think I'm going to stick with that mark. Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.